do live. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. We are at our Williamsport City Council meeting. It's Thursday, June 9th. We're in the Trade and Transit on the third floor. Please rise for the invocation by Councilman Randy Allison, followed by the flag salute.
Heavenly Father, I come to you tonight and just sense of all the things that are going on in our nation, across our state, everywhere, actually over facing trials, tribulations, things we haven't encountered for a long time. What I've come to this attention that we'll remember to be thankful for the things that we don't have, the things that we might not be able to access easily as we once did, things that have been lost, but rather the things that remain, the things that we do have, comforts that we do have, and the people that we have around us are the most precious commodity given us, each other. Thank you for relationships that are strong. I pray that they be strengthened. Thank you for families. And I pray that they be strengthened in this time of trial and tribulation. And I pray that we have hope for the future, and that sense of hope and thankfulness for will bring us together in ways that the current events tend to force us apart. But rather, we'll focus on the things that have true meaning in our lives with God and true meaning for each other and the way to help each other. What your word says that the word spoke is that what is required of us, he wants us to do justly, treat each other right, love mercy, be forgiving, compassionate towards others, to walk humbly with our God. We pray that we do those things in ourselves, for our community, for those around us this time, in Jesus' name.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Item 3, approval of city council meeting minutes from May 26, 2022. Is there a motion and a second?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the minutes for approval? Hearing seen none, Mr. Lubin, on the motion, please.
Mr. Allison?
Yes.
Mr. Mackey?
Yes.
Mr. Quincy?
Yes.
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Yoder?
Yes, motion passes 5-0. Item 4, limited courtesy before. We've had no requests for limited courtesy for tonight. Item 5, a proclamation honoring the Lycoming County United Way for 100 years of service. Welcome Mayor Slaughter and welcome Mr. Frick from United Way as well this evening. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, President. All right. Good evening, President Yoder, members of council and administration. As a former board member, it's a pleasure tonight to recognize the 100th anniversary of the Lycoming County United Way. And I'll just read the proclamation and I'll turn it over to Mr. Frick for some of his comments. Whereas the city of Williamsport is proud to recognize organizations which make an impact in the communities where we live, work, and play. And whereas Lycoming County United Way is celebrating the momentous occasion of its 100th anniversary. And whereas Lycoming County United Way began its service to the community at the Williamsport Welfare Corporation on April 14, 1922, when it was established by the local Board of Trade. The United Fund concept was adopted in May 1956, and the Lycoming County the Lycoming United Fund was established as the Lycoming United Fund on May 23, 1956. The organization was renamed as Becoming United Way in 1974 and adopted its present name in 2000, recognizing the organization's reach in all of Lycoming County. Serving individuals in Lycoming, Sullivan, and Tioga counties, Lycoming County United Way mobilizes the collective resources of communities to change lives. The organization currently supports 38 different programs around a variety of critical human service needs by fighting for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community. And whereas in its 100-year history, the organization has helped to establish a 24-hour human services hotline, now recognized as PA 211, introduced an online grant-making process utilizing almost 70 volunteers annually, and partners with numerous community organizations to deliver services to neighbors who need it most. And whereas Lycoming County United Way participated in outreach and grant-making activities in partnership with the First Community Partnership of Pennsylvania, UPMC, the City of Williamsport, and others to lessen the impact of COVID-19 and to support and recognize first responders and healthcare workers in our community. And whereas Lycoming County United Way has developed a strong reputation for the highest quality of service throughout its history, by steady adherence to the principles of fairness, reliability, and integrity, it has become a leader in the community and a model that is worthy of emulation. Over the years, those in leadership positions, as well as its investors and supporters, have contributed in a tremendous way to its growth and development. And whereas the City of Williamsport is proud to partner with the Lycoming County United Way in making the city a better place. Now, therefore, the City Council and Mayor of the City of Williamsport congratulates the Lycoming County United Way on its service to our community for 100 years and extends warmest wishes for a future full of success, and presents this document to Ronald Frick, President of the Lycoming County United Way, at a meeting of City Council this 9th day of June, 2022. So I'll just again extend my congratulations to Lycoming County United Way and everything that they have done over these past 100 years, and certainly what they will do for the next 100 years and beyond. So thank you, Mr. Frick, for everything you've done for our community, make it a better place, and also the communities, obviously, throughout the three counties that we serve. I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Frick, please give any comments. Welcome.
Yeah, I would, let me start by saying thank you to you, Mr. Yoder, and Mrs. Katz, who I know couldn't be here tonight, and members of City Council and Mayor Slaughter. Thank you for honoring the United Way this evening. It's been my privilege to serve as the CEO of the United Way for the last 5 years, and as a community volunteer for the same organization for almost 40 years. As a 1983 graduate of Lycoming College, the City of Williamsport and Lycoming County have been my home for almost 43 years, and I've worked in the city for that entire time. Lycoming County has become the place that I've lived longer than anywhere else, and so I'm grateful for that. I want to thank the mayor and members of City Council, various city employees who over the years have supported the United Way personally and professionally, including most recently Representative Biter's wife, who sits on our board. We're grateful for her service. And while we have not done an employee campaign with the city for a few years, there's no better time than now when sources of funds are really starting to dry up or go away altogether. We're proud to celebrate 100 years of service to the community, not only here in Lycoming County, but as Mayor Slaughter mentioned, for almost 8 years now in Sullivan and Tioga counties as well. And I'm personally grateful for Mayor Slaughter's remarks at our 100th anniversary press conference, which we held on April 14th. Some of you were in attendance, and for his leadership in finding new partnerships between government and the nonprofit community. As was mentioned, our organization supports 38 programs delivered by 19 community partners in 3 counties, who in 2021 served those in need almost 70,000 times. Our United Way is part of a global network of over 1,800 local United Ways in 41 countries, which was established in Denver, Colorado in 1887 by a woman, a priest, 2 ministers, and a rabbi. And while it sounds like that's the beginning of a bad joke, they did not walk into a bar. What they did do was recognize the need to work together in new ways to make Denver a better place, and put together an idea that became the nation's first United campaign, benefiting 10 area health and welfare agencies. Those 5 community leaders created an organization to collect funds for local charities, to coordinate relief services, to counsel and refer clients to cooperative agencies, and to make emergency assistance grants for cases that could not be referred. Many of the things that our local United Way continues to do today. That year, the Denver United Way raised what was then a lot of money, $21,700. And today, the Mile High United Way, which was the first United Way in the country and in the world, raises almost $42 million to support giving kids a strong start, supporting education and academic successes, and creating economic opportunity for all. United Way is still the largest privately funded nonprofit in the world, and the key there is privately funded. The Lycoming County United Way, as Derek mentioned, was established as a community welfare corporation by the Williamsport Board of Trade, which is now our very own Williamsport Lycoming Chamber of Commerce, to create a community chest, establishing a federation of local charities. And as was mentioned, our new name was adopted in April of 2000 to recognize our outreach in all parts of Lycoming County. The mission of the United Way is to mobilize collective resources to improve lives by collaborating with community partners and community leaders such as yourselves to make lasting change in the areas of health, education, and financial stability. We do this by seeking community input, analyzing data and past experience, strengthening families, and creating lasting change for future generations. We recently completed our community impact grant-making process where almost 70 people volunteered to review applications, interview community partners, and make recommendations around granting funds that we raised. No other organization in the community can marshal community resources and deploy them in this kind of accountable and transparent way, and we've been doing that way for decades. Our goals are to continue to act as a facilitator for discussions around critical human service needs. I had the opportunity to speak with the chief and assistant chief about some things that they're working on, which we think are very exciting, in ways to develop fostering partners with community leaders like city and county government, community action agencies like STEP, community foundations, and local school districts. I mentioned Brooke. For the first time in the history of our organization, we actually have 2 educators that had the time to be able to serve on our board, Brooke and Brad Spinner from Curtin Intermediate School. We want to establish stronger presence with smaller counties. Obviously, the money that's raised in Tug and Sullivan County is significantly less than we raise here in Lycoming County. We're continuing to work with other regional United Ways in Greater Susquehanna Valley, in Clinton County, and Bradford County. We are in the process of completing a comprehensive strategic plan, which is focusing on emerging and changing community dynamics. We'll put that on hold for COVID-19. As many of you know, that lots of things changed in the last 2 years. So we're going to go back to that. And then finally, to seek ways to assist community members who are asset limited, income constrained, and employed. The folks that we like to refer to as ALICE, many of the folks that live in the city, hardworking individuals, 2 jobs, and are struggling to just make ends meet. So how can city council help? How can the residents of the city of Williamsport help? Every dollar counts, and workplace campaigns across the country are either down or non-existent as a result of changing donor demographics or impacts from COVID-19. I have encouraged city leadership, Derek and I continue to talk on trying to find ways to encourage participation by city employees, not necessarily always financial, but there's other ways to participate in our work as well. And we're looking for different ways to make those kinds of things realities. Everybody has a circle of influence. All of you do, members of council, and so do residents in the city. We would just ask you to give value to the nonprofit partners in your community. I know you all do that, but we continue to do that. Talk about ways to do good things. Talk about the United Way, what the United Way does for our community. And quite frankly, we've all been through a lot in the last few years. Councilman Allison mentioned this in his prayer. Sometimes words of praise are just as important, and the value of the work that we're doing is important. So just sometimes thank you and being grateful is enough. And then finally, volunteer. Even an hour of your time with one of our partners has value and bolsters the mission of the work that we all do for our community. So thank you for granting me the time to speak to you tonight to tell you a little bit about our organization. Thank you for your efforts, your leadership here in the city of Williamsport. We are grateful for those of you who serve and the work that you do, and know that the United Way is going to continue to do what we can to work side by side with the city and the administration to make the city of Williamsport a better place to live. So thank you very much.
Ron, and thank you very much as well. I mean, I could say both as a member of city council, but also as a board member for a nonprofit in the area that we work hand in hand with you, and we're fortunate to have you at home. We're fortunate to have a really strong United Way in our community. Whether it's different nonprofits that are in the area that benefit from the relationship that they have with United Way, or just the services they provide. We're very lucky. I don't know that many other communities can say the same. I think it really helps set our community apart. And so we're thankful for the partnership. We're thankful that you're here, and we're thankful for 100 years, and we look forward to 100 more. So,
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
any other comments from other members of council? Congratulations, Ron.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Item 6, ordinance, the ARPA transfer ordinance number 1, in first reading. I will turn it over to Mr. Paul. Is there a motion in a second? So moved. Second. Second.
Good evening, President Yoder, members of council. This is a transfer ordinance for our American Rescue Plan Act funds. What we're proposing is to transfer $19,000 into a new line called traffic control safety trailer, and moving that money from the contingency and public services department. As everyone will remember, last meeting, council approved the purchase of this trailer, so therefore there wasn't any initial budget or moving money to fund the project that's approved last meeting. This was discussed in finance on Tuesday.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. He was reviewing finance. Ms. Millie, welcome.
Welcome, or thank you. Complicated you. It was reviewed minimally at finance. We obviously voted to purchase the trailer on the assumption that we would bring funds to transfer funds within the ARPA budget to accommodate it. So there wasn't really more discussion to that before the positive recommendation.
Thank you, Ms. Millie. Any other comments or questions from Mr. Hauser? Only thing I would note, when I was looking at this before tonight, we might want to consider in second reading if we want to transfer money into the compliance line item, because we're over on that about what, $105,000 or so.
We can look at that and then.
Yeah,
for
so
recommendations, thanks for reminding me.
yeah, between the administration and members of council, we might just want to think about where we're comfortable spending about $105,000 and move that down there in second reading. But Ms. Bailey,
To that point, are there any other funds that we'd like to transfer over?
that's the other second point that I was going to also bring up. We do have 2 readings, and we only have one thing that we're transferring right now. If there are other things from the administration or other members of council, it's been what, 3 months-ish since we put together and passed this budget. There might be some progression on particular projects or progression on particular ideas, one way or the other. So we may want to think about that before the next two Thursdays from now. I'll take it this way. Any other comments or questions? Hearing see none, Mr. Lubin on first reading, please.
Mr. Appleton,
Yes.
Mr. Mackey,
Yes.
Mr. Willoughby,
Yes.
Mr. White,
Yes.
Ms. Millie,
Yes.
Yes, motion passes 6-0. Item 7, a resolution awarding final design services to Annette Fleming for the Brandon Park Band Shell. And this would be a motion to remove it from the table. So yes, we should remove it from the table. We should not. Okay. I did not get to catch up with you beforehand, and I texted you quickly, so I wanted to see if there was if you were in a good position to drive through this.
So 2 weeks ago, the state obviously reached out to Ian a couple days after that. They're looking to modify their proposal to include 2 scope items in motion 1 in the scope, including some cost estimate and bidding. So they said, Mike Snyder, Vice President, said he was going to do that. So
Okay.
it was a couple days ago. I have yet to see.
Okay. Okay. I'll ask for if there's a motion to second remove from the table, but it seems like we can just let it there. Is there a motion to second? I do not see one, so we'll continue on. Thank you, Mr. Sander. Item 8, the resolution assigning appraisal services for City Hall building and property to Nestriak Appraisal and Consulting. Is there a motion to second?
So moved.
Motion and second, Mr. Sanders, welcome back, sir.
Yes, good evening again. So this is a proposal to praise the City Hall building. However, the staff reached out to me this morning. They are no longer interested in providing present services for the City Hall building. They read the newspaper article and realized the dollar figure of repairs for City Hall. We're not interested in the work. That was this morning. As of this afternoon, another appraiser reached out to me and wants to do the work as an appraiser around the Harrisburg area. But let's take a step back for 1 second. So a few months back, we put out RFP for realtor service to help sell the City Hall, possibly. We got two proposals, one from Rome Real Estate LLC and one from Fisher Real Estate. So we engaged with Rome, and Rome was recommended Hysteric, and obviously it's not going to work out, but Mr. Rome also recommended the second appraiser. I have a proposal we got this afternoon, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully bring one back to you in a couple of weeks.
Okay, so you're recommending to vote this down since they.
That's correct. Do not want to perform the work. Okay.
This was reviewed in finance. We can turn over to Ms. Mealy if there's anything to add in addition to finance, even though we're in a little bit of a different state.
We have forwarded this positive recommendation, of course, that's kind of the point now. That said, I guess to help everyone better understand what we forwarded this as a positive recommendation. It's a relatively small dollar figure, and the discussion in finance sort of circled around the idea of the city has not actually officially engaged with anyone for real estate / auction services for City Hall. We have, I think, more of us decided if we were going to sell City Hall at auction, then auction would be the way that we would do it, but it wasn't clear to me where we found down that road. I suppose one could say that this is part of the decision-making process in terms of deciding once and for all whether we're staying in, whether we're going to hang out at City Hall or whether we're going to attempt to sell it off to a developer. I, of course, requested multiple times from the administration that we have an independent person look into that question. The administration is doing it internally. They have proposed to bring us all the documentation in a month or so. The finance committee requested that we receive that documentation as it's available, rather than one large packet, on the presumption that we would like to be able to review it and ask further questions rather than having it brought to us and sort of try to. That was the totality of the discussion, but we all agreed that clearly evaluating an appraisal structure is part of the, regardless of where we're going, because knowing what the building is worth is important, and does not, according to the mayor, in any way block us. Although I guess I'd ask legal counsel's opinion on that, would not commit us to needing to receive a certain dollar figure for the structure.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, so we wouldn't be committed to having to get X for it, or on the opposite side to only being able to get X for it. We would just know what it's worth.
Thank you, Ms. Mealy. Any other comments or questions related to this from other members of council? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, Mr. Lubin, on the vote, please.
Mr. Allison?
No.
Mr. Mackey?
No.
Mr. Posey?
No.
Mr. Boyer?
No.
Ms. Sealy?
No.
Mr. Yoder?
No, motion fails. 0 yes, 6 no's. Thank you, Mr. Sanders.
Thank you.
We'll move to item 9, resolution appointing director of information technology. Is there a motion and a second?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Welcome back, Mayor Slaughter.
Yes, good evening again, President Yoder, members of council and administration. What you have before you is a resolution to approve, actually updated with the chief of the Bureau of Information Technology. Nolan, do we have to do anything official, or is it okay since we amended it earlier?
There's an amendment from the state.
Okay, all right, so we're good. All right, so whereas the city of Williamsport is in need of a dedicated information technology professional, once River Valley Transit becomes an authority as of July 1st, And whereas Chris Black was hired by River Valley Transit, but has worked the majority of his hours for the city of Williamsport in a more than satisfactory manner. And so before you at this time is the resolution to accept Mr. Black on the city side, effective July 1, once River Valley Transit becomes an authority. Obviously, he spent, as the resolution says, a lot of time on this side. He has obviously also experience at the county level and has worked with a number of our departments, all of our departments, particularly the police, extremely closely. And as such, you would like someone in there that can be trusted and all that. He has a good relationship with our department, given the sensitive nature of some of that work. And so it was reviewed in finance and forwarded to the full body council with the positive recommendation.
Thank you, Mayor Slaughter. I'll turn it over to Ms. Mealy for finance.
This was reviewed in finance and voted with positive recommendation. City council had advocated, as you'll recollect, in December when we completed the budget for bringing the position in-house rather than outsourcing through RBT. And this accomplishes that goal that we established more than 6 months ago. But I guess about 6 months ago at this point. And so that is exciting to us. And as the mayor mentioned, of course, we have been fortunate to work with Chris in a capacity as an RBT employee for 6 months and established that he is a more than capable IT professional. And we're delighted to welcome him into the employ of the city. One item that we did, of course, discuss in finance committee, Chris currently resides in Williamsport Township. And as an employee of the city, we're required to move into the city of Williamsport, and they're assured us that he is working on that process. The two items that we did not address in finance committee, and it seems as though one of them has been addressed there, works under administrative duties, no director of information technology, which means, technically speaking, that Mr. Bach does not need to come before us for a hire.
Correct.
That said, it's lovely to, to talk about this, I suppose, in public. And the second point that we did not address, because I was not aware of it until I did research into last year's budget after the finance committee meeting, is that the budgeted salary for Mr. Black's position is not $61,000 as stated in the resolution, it's instead 53.
I actually updated that resolution to say it's current salary, the one I sent earlier. The salary of RBT right now.
Okay.
And so I worked with RBT to see the reimbursement and come September, as we discussed in finance, we'll have to work with Joe Pavlov to see where we have savings and come back to council for a possible transfer.
So the $70,000 increase in September, the dates this one, $2,000 to $3,000 this calendar year. There is some discussion. I don't think that it's all clear because we haven't been billed by RBT for all of Mr. Black's hours thus far. We're of course halfway through the year. We had a budgeted salary of $53,000. We also had contract services in the budget of about the same amount. So it's not clear. It seems to me it's about that number. There's contract services amount. It's pretty high. I think it's 53. But I might be wrong. But Detroit, it's just. But it remains to be seen consequently exactly how all of that will sort out. I'm not certain for one thing. I can't recollect. I didn't have notes to reflect whether there were other contract services for some in the IT, not London and IT, or whether it was exclusively a relationship with RBT. So I guess we will have to look into it, and we can obviously ask for further information in a month or so as we pull ourselves from RBT with that July 1st deadline. The extent to which we're fully funded within the department, and the extent to which we have to find funds elsewhere.
And there'll likely be some reimbursement to the city as well as we work through that process. I think it's not discussing as they separate out the projects. money owed back to the city. As you said, Councilman, it's gonna play out over the next few months before we have those reviews.
Ms. Mealy, to answer your question, we have $52,700 in contract services. If I recall from the past couple of years, there's some other things IT wise that did into that bucket outside of our prior approach of essentially contracting out our IT services.
I would agree. I believe that there are. I'm simply not certain what the total amount of those services is, or was for the discount. So once again, that's all of that is things that will have to let sort themselves out. We will. The mayor showed me that $70,000 figure obviously is that good for. It will not be changing in 2023, so we know what we need to budget.
Yes, and the other reason I say that, so when we went through putting the 2021 budget together, we cut a lot out, as most of us remember. And in the IT department specifically, we went extremely bare bones, and in the 2021 budget, we had, we had $13,100 in there. And so I'm gonna assume $13,000 to $15,000 is probably what that make software maintenance, whatever those fees are. So we probably have roughly about 40,000 somewhere in there. Like what? Should be.
That's what I can say is that it was the desire of council and the administration to bring this position in-house. I think this will in the long run probably represent a savings to the city, as well as as we move to disentangle city affairs from River Valley Transit affairs, and it will be a beneficial thing in that arena as well. So we wanted to provide council a positive recommendation with obviously a note to keep an eye on the budgetary implications there, but I think it will be better than the alternative.
Thank you, Ms. Mealy. Any other comments or questions from the council? I have a couple, just a couple of points. I mean, Ms. Mealy referenced the budgetary impacts and what have you, and it's next year's when we'll really feel it. It's a $17,000 increase on budget. Fortunately, we will be working on budget earlier in the year, so I'm hopeful we'll be able to work through that and mitigate that challenge, which is good nonetheless. That is something we need to find where that's coming from, or other areas as well. So yes, Mayor Slaughter, do we have any detail or idea where we're going to pull any reimbursement or payment to RBT for essentially the first half of the year? I know we've talked about contract services, but if we pull there to put in the salary, we got to find that money somewhere else. Do we have has there been any exploratory work?
Six or one out of the other. If we use the contract services, that would save money in the salary side. If we use the salary, then we'll save money in contract services. Either way, I think we'll be okay. So that's a trade we looked at. But if we do contract services, whatever that amount will be, the first part, and then we'll use the remainder of that, to Councilman Whaley's point, a few thousand to finish out the year from there. So either way, we should have enough with the budget amount we have between contract services and salary line to be good this year. So that's the two areas we look at.
Okay. The only other thing, I'll just circle back to the whole director thing. And I think more so for council, there's this feeling that this was not an actual director position. When the third class charter was written, legal directors or department heads need to be approved by council. This is a bureau level position. So technically, us voting on this really doesn't mean anything. In essence, we can vote this down and, Mayor Slaughter can hire him anyway. We can vote for it, and one way, it doesn't matter. The other important thing to know, and And I think why that process is important. So the way that the third pledge chart also works, in the absence of the mayor, so in this case, if Mayor Slaughter were out for like a week, let's say he's on vacation, he's to appoint a department head to run the city. And so right now we have 5, we'll have 4 when he separates. So making sure that we understand that moving forward is important, because the last thing we want to do is put somebody that is not legally a director or a department head in a position to sign checks, execute contracts, because it just creates a whole number of potential issues. So I think we talked about breaking that out. We updated the administrative code, we decided not to. I think that's where some of the confusion might have come from, but nonetheless, the letter of the law really doesn't mean anything. And then that's really the background on department heads and why that is written that way. So, great discussion.
Yeah.
But
I would agree. I think
it's a moot point.
given all the discussion we had around specifically information technology, I think it's still good. It was, even in spite of where we are right now, it was good to bring it before council and have this conversation, because we did spend both during the administrative code conversation and during the budget a significant amount of time on information technology. So
And to that point, Mayor Slaughter also raised the point in our finance meeting that administrative code is something that we likely should look into at some point soon, especially now that there will be no director of Valley Transit or Bureau of Transportation. We need to revise it as a part of that. We might as well look at revisions that we don't need, but that would be wise.
Yeah, River Transit comes to mind, public safety comes to mind. We haven't had director of public safety legitimately for nearly 10 years, and haven't really questioned it either. I mean, that's how checks and balances get out of whack, right? Probably part of the reason why we're in the boat that we're in with River Transit, in all honesty. So we need to make sure that they stay updated. So that would be a good thing to revisit. And I think with Mayor Slaughter being in office about 2.5 years now, he's had time to get acclimated with things. I'd be interested to hear his insights onto where he sees some things that they need to confirm as well. So, absolutely. Any other comments or questions from Mr. Council? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, Mr. Lubin, on the motion, please.
Mr. Anderson? Yes. Mr. Mackey?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Meyer?
Yes.
Yes.
No. Motion passes 5. Item 10, accept the filing. Public Works meeting minutes from March 18th and March 29th, 2022. Is there a motion to second?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there any comments or questions on these minutes? Mr. Rubin, on the motion, please.
Mr. Allison?
Yes.
Mr. Mackey?
Yes.
Mr. Lizzie?
Yes.
Mr. Meyer?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Mr. Yoder?
Yes, motion passes 6-0. Item 11, announcements. Our next regularly scheduled city council meeting is on Thursday, June 23rd, 7 p.m. Upcoming meetings, Monday, June 13th at 4 p.m. is our Recreation Commission. Wednesday, June 15th at 10 a.m. is our Blighted Property Board. Thursday, June 16th, 10 a.m. is our Zoning Hearing Board. Tuesday, June 21st, 11:30 a.m. is our Public Safety Meeting. 1 p.m. Finance Committee. 2:30 p.m. Public Works. 4 p.m. Transit Oversight Committee. 6:30 p.m. HARB. Wednesday, June 22nd, 9 a.m. Economic Revitalization. 11:30 Redevelopment Authority, and Thursday, June 23rd, 7 p.m. is our City Council meeting. Are there any comments from members of City Council this evening? Short agenda tonight. Mr. Allison.
Yeah, just a quick one on that Memorial Park, Memorial Day. For our monument and service was just amazing. House, and it was raining, but people still came out. A lot of people it didn't work, get on the tent, but still stood the sacrifice of their time and the elements, but honor those who make the ultimate sacrifice. He came home alive, but still, magnitude of it was great. The speeches were great. Mayor Slaughter gave a great address as well. Very moving. Just a great day. So and I want to give kudos to the men who are working there, men and women who are volunteering all of their time and effort, raising money. Something they deeply believe in, and something that it is important for us to support. Was John Mark, who's our main contact. You know him and his late brother, decades combined to the city and streets department. So wonderful time and that place is growing. It's amazing and one of the jewels as far as that kind of in the state for sure. So, count that. Great.
I would second that, you know, and specifically the expansion this year, you know, we have the Gold Star families monument out there, and we had two ceremonies essentially. We had, you know, both of them were great, but that Gold Star families one specifically got me. You know, we were all under the tent, you know, listening to everybody, and we all went over to the Gold Star monument and unveiled it, and all the Gold Star families came up there, and you could just see how much that means to them. And you could feel the emotion, and it was truly something. And the other great thing, you know, it's really, I think you even mentioned this, Randy. It's a crown jewel in the country, right? The partner organization, I'm struggling to come up with the name of the organization, but they literally said, you know, we've been to hundreds of these across the country. This is the best park that we've seen across the country. You know, we have great assets in our parks for sure, and we have a really good one in the west end of the city. We're very fortunate. So, well said, Mr. Wilson. Any other comments or questions from the council? Any comments from the administration tonight? Any comments from members of the public? Any comments from members of the news media? None of them are here. All right, we'll move to adjournment. Motion and second.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Have a good evening.